So far, he's in.
Wow.
But, he could always be the guy in the coffin.
Oh, no. Rob Lowe just killed Judd Nelson on this here podcast. Somebody gonna cue me, or do I cue myself?
Cue yourself.
Okay. Hey, everybody, we're back with another episode of Let's Talk Off Camera, so let's get talking. Yeah. Oh, today's going to be a good one, everybody. Get your walls ready and pin up your posters. This is one for the record books. Actor, writer, podcast host himself, and everyone's teen crush, Rob Lowe is joining us. Oh, what a career.
Incredible.
I mean, so much.
Oh, The Outsiders, St. Elmo's Fire, my personal favorite, Young Blood.
Oh,
my God, Young Blood. I call it 80s teenage porn.
I loved Oxford Blues.
Oxford Blues, About Last Night, Wayne's World. Oh, Behind the Candelabra, your favorite, right. The West Wing, Parks and Rec, the list goes on and on. Jan, how many Rob Lowe posters did you have on the wall?
I did have 2 Rob Lowe posters.
Of course you did. So, guys, what's going on with you?
Quick story.
Yeah.
So we finally got, for no reason, Luke's transcript for the last semester at Syracuse, which we didn't need for anything to get into Michigan.
Right.
So he's a good student, but he failed one class.
What one?
Nutrition. Which I was like, I'm gonna take that.
Brilliant.
I'm gonna take that L, because your mom has only microwaved you every dinner you've ever had.
Yeah, that's your L.
That's my
yes,
L.
That's the L.
I thought that was an L.
What is nutrition?
What is nutrition?
Seems like such an easy A, doesn't it?
It seems like an A.
Easy
I think he thought it was going to be an easy A. But then
Yeah.
Albert this morning told me something
oh
very
God.
funny.
Freddie got neutered today, and
You cut off Freddie's
so
balls?
which was very traumatizing for Kyle and I to drop him off for that. But you're gonna die, because Kyle then texts me and says Jenna says we should get him nudicles.
No, nudicles. Yes, that's a great idea.
Testicular implant.
That's a great idea. You should make him whole.
Just to avoid the shame, he can walk down the block
Nudicles.
with pride.
That's got to be in Trent and Trudy Lee. Please tell me that works its
They have
way
to
into
put it
the
in.
show. They have to put it into the show.
Isn't that amazing?
Nudicles.
Nudicles. And of course, there's a whole website dedicated to nudicles.
Is Freddie out of surgery?
He's out of surgery.
And is he recovering well?
Yeah, he's recovering well, yeah.
And does he look at you with a little resentment in his eyes?
Kyle,
since you still
Kyle
have,
says that he looks traumatized. I
you
haven't
still
seen him
have
yet.
at least one of your balls.
I haven't seen him yet. Kyle said he looks traumatized, and he's sending me pictures of him, and his tail is usually up, it's down.
Yes,
he's covering the incision.
He's covering where his balls used to be.
He's covering. I can't take it. Oh, it's funny. I will say it. It is a very traumatizing thing for 2 gay men to take their pet to a place knowing that their balls are going to get cut off in a matter of hours.
That must make him feel very betrayed. Betrayed by the tribe. Did he say anything like, "But I'm a gay dog"?
He didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything?
No. But you know what? I'll let you know when I see him later what he says.
Yeah, I want to know what he says. I want to know verbatim.
He doesn't
what
look
does
happy.
Freddie say? I would be pissed. Oh, look at what's going on back here. Now, is this the Rob Lowe at-home lair, do we think? But we are here, Rob, not in your elegant podcast studio. We are here in my son's former bedroom.
Amazing.
Complete with, I wonder if there's Rob Lowe memorabilia in here. No, he's not. That would probably be my daughter's bedroom. Yes. But in Michael's bedroom, it's a lot of like Batman stuff and Super Mario's World collectibles and some weird, I'm not going to lie, there's some weird shit. Now, Rob, what's going on in the Lowe household? Are you and your son still working together?
So much is going on. I mean, we should have had a reality series. I swear to God. My life is so mental. First of all, as we speak, there are 5 dogs right outside that door. I've drugged them so they won't bark.
Are they all male? Are they male dogs?
No, we have 2 half-brother and sister Jack Russells, 2 half-brother and sister German short-haired pointers, and 1 rescue. And so we're 1 dog away from having to have a kennel license.
So, have you had your male dogs neutered?
Yes, I have. The big ball swinging male dog thing is such a statement. When you see somebody who has a dog with those big old nut sacks hanging, you're like, that says something about not only the dog, but about the owner.
Okay, so I have, Albert, you're here.
Yeah.
Albert is a proud owner of his second gay dog. His first gay dog died of natural causes
Yes.
back last June.
Yeah.
And now he's got Freddie Mercury. Now,
Amazing.
like all gay men who own poodles, Albert's poodle was, of course, born on Madonna's birthday, because
Amazing.
apparently all poodles are born on
Last
Madonna's
August 16th,
birthday
yes.
if they are sold to gay men. Okay, I guarantee you, if I walked in there, they'd be like, October 4th is the dog's birthday. But for this, so Albert today had Freddie Mercury neutered. And they are seriously considering getting him nudicles. Do you know what nudicles are, Rob Lowe?
No.
They are testicle implants that you
Get out of here.
Yeah, I swear to God.
Oh, wait, but is that purely a cosmetic?
Yes.
Yes.
It's to help avoid the shame of them walking down the block without.
Apparently, your dogs are living in shame, Rob. Did you know that?
I mean, when does it end? What I mean, I'm learning more about body, male, female stuff with every passing day, and now it's dogs
so
too.
true. It is true.
Oh,
you know, it's
really
so
true.
funny. We were before you logged on. We were listing all of your credits. Jan was levitating off the chair. I got very
my
excited. You know, my personal favorite is Youngblood. It, you know, made me take an interest in ice hockey until I realized nobody who plays ice hockey looks like Rob Lowe. Nobody. Just
Oh, but wait.
that
Can I just say something? I beg to differ. I think if you took every sport, the best looking dudes by sport, 100% are hockey players. I believe.
None of them look like Rob Lowe, and that is my. I'm sticking to it. I am standing
all
by
right.
that statement.
Okay,
There is
all
no
right.
Rob Lowe like young blood hockey player.
right,
It does
all
not
right.
exist. Okay.
Okay.
And so we're listing all of your credits. Seth got excited about St. Elmo's fire. Seth got excited about last night. Personally, I think Seth is more of a Demi Moore fan, but that's just, this is all speculation. And then Albert said, what about Behind the Candelabra?
I mean, my God. Iconic.
That's one of my favorites for sure.
Do you have a favorite Rob Lowe film?
I like the ones that showcase, you know, the showcase range, you know. So for sure, Behind the Candelabra would be on it because that is such a big swing, as they say. When I was signed to do that movie, I called Steven Soderbergh, the great Steven Soderbergh, who directed it, and we didn't know each other. And I said, "Look, man, I love doing ensembles. My favorite things have been ensembles: West Wing, Outsiders, St. Elmo's Fire." But, you know, the thing about ensembles is you got to find a way to plant your flag. And we're doing a movie where Michael Douglas is playing Liberace in pearls and ruffles. And Matt Damon is playing his boy toy in spandex. And like, I'm figuring how do I get noticed? And I have a pretty big idea. I have a pretty big swing idea I'm thinking of doing here with this character. Are you down? And he was like, swing away.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from, that crazy character. So if you took that on one end and, you know, the West Wing on the other, I'd be like, that's a fair representation of what I'm capable of doing.
So, you know, we had Demi Moore on, and I love and adore her. I just think she's the coolest chick there is.
A star. Again, a star.
Another bona fide movie star, and I could watch her. I could watch her read a Chinese menu. And as a matter of fact, I've actually been in front of her where she's like, I'll just have.
I'll have the shrimp lo mein, please.
Yes. And you're like, what? So you two have crazy good chemistry. About Last Night, I think, is one of our favorites.
Thank you. By the way, of all of the stuff I did in the 80s, if I had to pick one, it would for sure be About Last Night.
Yeah. Do you two have like an off-camera relationship? Do you two ever get together and
we're on a text thread.
Oh, a text thread. What's it called?
she has a pseudonym that she goes by. And which I can't say because then it wouldn't be a pseudonym. And we're very much in contact now because we are actively trying to do St. Elmo's Fire sequel.
Which I have been waiting for 20 years, 25 years.
It's moving along. It's going a little more slowly than I would have liked, but that's a good thing because we're trying to find the right writer and the right story. But all of the actors, everybody is on board. Everybody's excited. I think the notion that the reason that movie still resonates with people are two things. One, it was a hit in its time, but it was a hit in its time because it spoke to where we all were in our lives. Like, will we ever have the kind of deep friendships coming out of college and coming out of our early 20s? Will that last in our lives? And where are we headed now that we're really adults? I think now it is, I think the theme of St. Elmo's Fire today is that it's never too late for happiness. And that is, because our kids are out of school, and maybe some of us have been divorced, and maybe some of us are still, and maybe somebody's been failing. All the things that you deal with as you get to our ages, this is an opportunity to explore those themes with characters that people know and love. And I think, as opposed to just a money run, let's just reboot it because people know the title of it. I actually think there's a lot to be said about why we're doing it, and I'm super excited about it. Hopefully we can pull it off.
What about Billy? What do you think? Like, if you could write what happened to your character, what would you predict happened to Billy?
Well, as you remember, at the end of St. Elmo's Fire, he got on a bus to New York with his saxophone. By the way, it was tied to him with a rope. Billy arrived in New York with his saxophone at exactly the moment that saxophones were banned from showing up on every single song. So my take is that Billy got there and played the sax solo on Billy Ocean's Caribbean Queen.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And that was his high watermark.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, what became of him after that? Right. And I have a couple really, really good pitches about that. The other thing is he clearly was suffering with addiction.
Yep.
And what became of that? And obviously being 34 years sober now, I have the question is Billy sober?
Yeah,
or is he not sober? Or is he sober? One of those, or is he California sober?
Can you explain to me California sober?
Yeah, I can describe it to you in one word. It's bullshit. California sober is, for example, I'm an alcoholic. I know I have a substance abuse problem. I am an addict. I have all the hallmarks of addiction. But alcohol is my problem, so I'm going to take edibles every night. That's California sober.
Oh, that's what I thought it was.
Okay, so I'm a cokehead. So I'm done with coke is my issue. So I'm gonna just take a lot of NyQuil every night or whatever. So California sober are people who still medicate to get out of their feelings,
right?
To mood alter with a different substance.
Why do people have difficulty? And it's a question we ask here a lot. People have difficulty sitting in their feelings. They have a really hard time being uncomfortable. Like I realized many years ago that the only reason I would consume alcohol was because I didn't like, every time I had to go to a party, I'm so sort of socially awkward and weird in social settings that I would have to have a drink just to sort of get me through it, because buzzing, like the feeling of being uncomfortable was too much for me. And then one day I was like, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Like the hangover isn't worth not feeling uncomfortable. And when I went to my first barbecue and didn't drink, I remember thinking, oh, I am awkward, but it's kind of like what people like about me, my weirdness and my ability to say the wrong thing at every event is kind of why I keep getting invited back to things. Not because I'm fun and I'm a good time Charlie with a lampshade on my head.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the thing is people have difficulty sitting with their feelings. Did you have difficulty sitting with your feelings?
Oh, I hate my feelings. Yeah, 100%. And it's exactly the same thing. And I think what's people listening to this are probably like, wait a minute. I hear Kelly every morning being charming and funny and great. And you mean to tell me she's saying she's awkward in a social setting? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
Yes. And same with me. It's like I'm a professional extrovert.
Right. Yes. Nobody understands that. I say it all the time. I'm a professional extrovert, but in real life, I seldom leave. I mean, I do leave this bedroom, but I seldom leave my house.
No. I'm the same, and I've gotten to the point, through a lot of years of doing this and a lot of analysis, and I'm a big believer in therapy, and where I'm okay, not feeling guilty about the fact that I have that duality in me. Like, you put the bright lights on me or a camera or write the check, whatever it is. and I can be a great companion. But if I'm at a neighborhood barbecue, without feeling like I'm judgmental, I get bored. And to me, you say you have a hard time. One, why do we have a hard time with our feelings? We do. But I've drilled it down even more. And for me, it's not my feelings, it's boredom.
Yeah, boredom.
I will do anything to avoid boredom. And let's face it, 9 times out of 10 at a dinner party, you're bored.
Yeah.
And then you add to it,
Albert's never bored at a dinner
No,
party.
I hate the small talk. To me is what's death. But,
well, that's what I'm saying. The small talk. And Kelly, look at what you do for a living and what I get to do because of the world that I'm in. We are around the most interesting, funny people in the planet on a daily. So then you go out in the world and not everybody can be that, nor should they. But the bar has been set so high for conversation and entertainment that when you go out on here's what I live in fear of. I love to golf. And I'm out on the golf with my guys. And they're regular guys. That's what you want to be with. I don't need to be golfing with Bono. And I'm golfing.
But I bet that'd be fun.
It would be fun. But you're with a regular guy who goes, I've got a joke.
Oh, no. Not I've got a joke.
Oh, no.
No, not I've got a joke.
No. Now, Martin Short says that. By the way, he wouldn't say I've got a joke. He'd just be
He
funny.
would never start with I got a joke.
Then here's a little pro tip to anybody listening. Never, ever, ever start with I've got a joke. And the only thing worse than that is the all-time worst. I've got a funny story. You know what I say now? I literally say now, I'll be the judge of that.
But I say it all the time. I'm like, I got a funny story. Listen to this.
No.
But it's usually, my funny
that.
stories are usually tragic. I don't mean funny. I never mean funny, haha. I mean funny as in, this story I'm about to tell you is so off, it's going to knock.
That you can do.
Did I not
That
come
you
into
can
this
do.
room today with a very funny story?
Yes, you did.
But was it humorous at all?
No.
It's
very dark.
That you can do because you're doing a pro move. Mm-hmm. You're doing a bait and switch of your audience.
Bait and switch. Because if I said to them, I've got the most tragic and egregious story.
No, that you can't do.
No, you can't.
That's right.
You lose your audience.
That's right.
Can we discuss the documentary Brats?
Yes.
Because I also have a theory about that New York Magazine article.
Tell me.
I think that a lot of times when journalists write articles, they have the article written. It's written.
Yes,
and it doesn't matter what you do, and it doesn't matter what you say.
Yep.
The outcome of the article is going to be the way that article was written. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree with your thesis 100%. In this particular case, I disagree because the article was meant to be about Emilio Estevez being the youngest writer, director, actor at 24 to do a major studio Hollywood motion picture since Orson Welles.
Holy cow.
That was the pitch. That's what the writer was hired to do. That was the pitch. That's why he was living with Emilio. And Emilio, who's a very self-serious person, realized that he was probably not in a bad thing, but like wanted to show that he could also have a good time. Boy, did he ever. So, and the writer went to this dinner that was put together for the writer to show that Emilio was capable of having fun and not just being a super self-serious dude. And the writer, probably correctly, went, I'm not writing that boring piece on Emilio Estevez being a director. I'm writing a piece on these crazy actors.
Right.
And that's what happened. But you're right. He definitely screwed us over. And it's funny, journalism today, well, there's no such thing as journalism today.
I know.
But in the day when there was journalism, you had to worry about the hit pieces where they would come as your friend and just be ready to murder you. That part is true. Like, I bet you by the time that the second order of buffalo chicken wings arrived at the dinner, this guy was ready to murder us all. And in that great way they do, these smart writers, where there's no real gotcha in the article. It's just a sort of plausible deniability tone that everybody comes off horribly.
Jan, yes.
Yeah, but do you agree with like Andrew McCarthy's assessment that this is career ending? Your career didn't end. May's career didn't end. Like, why is he upset?
Well, look, everybody has their own journey, right? And you could grow up in a dysfunctional family and one brother can thrive and another brother can never get over it. So we see it played out all the time in real life. And I've come to love Andrew. As he alluded to, we weren't really close during the day, but I've come to love him partially because, and I'm not giving anything away, he's open. He's sober now. And so this is part of his journey of dealing with something that clearly for him was an issue. For me, it wasn't. I watched that documentary, and I don't want to name names, but I look at some of it and I go, Jesus Christ, these guys are talking like they were a part of the Bataan Death March. and it just wasn't that for me. It just never was.
Right. Well, you also have a level of self-awareness that I think is kind of very rare in show business. There's, there are people that don't have it at all. And I think you have it. You have an overflowing of self-awareness. So does Demi, by the way.
Yes, she does.
Wait, go ahead, Jan. Go.
I have another question.
Jan is bouncing.
Okay, because I just watched
Jan, come on, get in here.
Okay, so Judd Nelson, he couldn't get to be part of it. But like, had you been in touch with Judd Nelson? Like, is he?
I haven't, only because, I mean, listen, I moved out of LA. I've had a show on network television every season since 1999, uninterrupted. And I'm raising 2 kids. So all friendships fall by the wayside when you're living that life. And Judd is under that. I always loved Judd when we were together. He's by far the funniest, by far the smartest. Like, not even close. Yes. His family are like noted, like, from Maine judges and professors and shit. Like, he's learned a smart dude. Yeah. They're learned people.
Learned people, Jan. Not like us.
Yeah, no, listen, I got a GED, for God's sakes.
Well, you did okay. By the way, you were on a movie set when you were how old? I mean, when you started working, you were in high school.
I started working my first pro job was at 13. My first TV show was 15, and my first movie was 17.
You had another question about Judd
Nelson.
But
is Judd Nelson going to do St. Elmo's Fire? Then is he on board?
So far, he's in.
Wow.
So far, he is in, and but he could always be the guy in the coffin.
No, don't kill Judd. Don't put him in the coffin.
Just
Nobody
saying,
puts baby in the coffin.
I'm just saying, I'm not a producer for nothing.
Rob Lowe just killed Judd Nelson on this here podcast. No, you know what would be? It would be exciting though if you all, for the first time, because he's such a shadowy figure in present day pop culture, if you all in the movie as actors for the first time lined it up so that the scene featuring Judd Nelson, you all see him for the first time on camera. Like nobody has any off-camera contact.
I think that we would be foolish to not use the meta of our own lives in the movie. For sure. And the question is, how much is too much? There's always a very specific, tasteful bullseye that you want to hit. But the notion that nobody has seen Judd's character and knows what has become of him would be a great storyline, and the audience would be like, aha. So that the plan is to take advantage of all of that. We'd be silly not to, because, in many ways, we're our own personal narratives are wrapped up in those characters in a way, and to deny it would be, I think, not smart.
Back in the day when you were all shooting those series of movies, and you all had like individual projects that you worked on and ensemble stuff that you worked on together, did you, and I'm going to go back to Demi because I just love Demi personally, did you have a crush on her? And I'm going to go back to Demi because I just love Demi personally. Did you have a crush on her? Did you guys ever date? Did you all date each other? Was it like just was it a big romp?
Big sex orgy on the set of St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
There were, Demi and I briefly, I'm not telling tales out of school. We briefly had a thing, and then Emilio and Demi, I think, were engaged. And then we all were at her wedding to Bruce. Biggest wedding I'd ever been to up until then. I'd never been to a wedding like that. There were, I think, 2 sound stages rented and bands, and it was so fun and so amazing. And that's, I think you look, anytime you put young 20-something men and women together, hookups are inevitable. And I don't think that has changed.
You've been married a really long time. And so here's the great question. We want to know what Sheryl did. Was it the right place, right time?
Oh.
Were you give me the story. I want the juice.
Okay.
Did she act totally
there was a blind date originally.
It was a blind date, but how do you blind date Rob Lowe?
It's a half blind date.
It's a half blind date.
It's a half blind date. It's a half blind date. Blind for me.
Tell me about the blindness of the date.
My best friend at the time, we were young single dudes, and he was like, "I got a couple of girls who are going to come meet us for dinner." I was like, "Great!" And one of them was Sheryl's, and we went to Lucy's El Adobe, which is a Mexican restaurant still around today, right across from Paramount Studios. Remember it like it was yesterday. And Sheryl walked in, and we hit it off, but we both had sort of boyfriends and girlfriends on the side. So
I love that. That's how Mark and I met. You always have to keep another person on the side.
Yes. Yeah. So they were on the side. And so the timing didn't really work out. And then we reunited. We reunited on the set of Bad Influence.
Oh,
She was the makeup artist.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Sheryl was the leading makeup artist in Hollywood when she was a makeup artist. And specialized mostly in leading men. So she was Al Pacino's personal, on and on and on. And I met her then. She hit it off great. And then I was going to do a press tour in Australia, and I had a second ticket. And I thought, who would I take? If I could take anybody to spend time with, who would it be? And it was like, without a doubt, it would be Sheryl. So we started off as buddies, as like friends. Now, I'm not let's be totally transparent.
Friends with a little benefits.
Thank you. Come on. Exactly.
Got it.
And then on our way home, we stopped in Fiji, and we went to our little cottage, and they had on the cottage a wooden plaque on the door that said Rob and Sheryl.
Oh my God.
And I came around the path and I saw our names on this plaque, and I had an epiphany. And I've had about 3 of them in my life, maybe 4.
Okay.
And when I have them, they seem insane. And they're very vivid roadmaps of my life. And I saw that name, I saw our names together, and I was overwhelmed with that we were going to be together, that we were going to have children, all of this stuff. And that could not have been farther from where my head was, farther from my ability to even deliver on. And so I was like, and I put it out of my head.
Right.
And that is what indeed happened. And that was the beginning of us dating, which eventually turned into us. And then the other thing she did, which I loved, is I had a bachelor pad up in Nichols Canyon. It was like literally like if Don Johnson's character from Miami Vice designed a house, that's what it would have looked like.
That's how I like to think of you living, by the way.
It's exactly what you would think.
Yeah.
And Sheryl was the only female who ever set foot in there who actually rearranged my coffee table books and furniture. And I was like, wow, I like this. And
so she's got a strong inner gay man, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yes, very
aesthetic.
Important.
A very strong aesthetic.
That's
I like that.
Yes, that's very important.
Many friends that could arrange his coffee table books. That would love to.
By the way, if you can get Rob Lowe at Sausage Fest,
oh my God,
let me tell you something.
Kidding?
Wait, I love that. What is Sausage Fest?
Sausage Fest is the premier event of Memorial Day weekend out in the Hamptons at Albert's house. We call it the Meat Gala.
The Meat Gala. It's been
renamed.
That's the meat. That's really great.
It is a mostly gay men, and then usually myself, my daughter, and a couple of other Mark,
your son Michael.
Yes, right. There's like 4 to 6 heteros.
Yes.
Just for balance, just to make it like a good balance.
Here's what I think. You need to up the game. You need to each year have some sausage that you are going to honor. And I am throwing my name in the hat as the first honoree of the Sausage Fest.
I mean, are you kidding?
You should get blood sausages and call them young blood sausages. We'll name every sausage after one of Rob's characters. Just think about it.
We would have to give out sedatives in the driveway as they're coming
in. We'll have to put shock collars on your friends to not sexually harass Rob.
Right.
But
Amazing.
it would be the get of the year if you were to get Rob.
I mean, it should be better than what is it? The white party that everybody is all agog about.
This is so much better than the white party.
No, I'm saying
there are
already
actual sausages served at it. It's an actual.
There's actually food and it's all sausage. So I hope you're not vegetarian.
I think this might be a live event for Netflix.
Rob, I can guarantee you we could make that happen and shoot the pilot if you come to the Meat Gala.
The Meat Gala.
Thinking the Meat Gala. Oh my! By the way, I think I'd rather be at.
He's at Oprah's that year.
Oh, right.
Yes, I'm sorry. I can't. My dance card is very full.
How many days a year do you spend at Oprah's house?
I haven't been to Oprah's in a long time. She's got a lot of great places. She's in Hawaii a ton. But her property is the most beautiful property I have ever. House is great. The property is insane. And last time I was there I was playing tennis with Stedman, who's like me. He can play tennis and golf all day long. She's a good neighbor to have for sure.
So when you go over there, does Oprah react the way Jan and I do around you? Like, does she become like giddy Oprah? Is she like staring at Rob Lowe as like looking at the sun?
Yeah, she's looking at the sun. She, you know what? she has been incredibly important to me in ways that like she really shows up. Like when I wrote my first book, her show was still on the air. By the way,
that book was extraordinary. Was it Stories I Only Tell My Friends?
That's right. Yes. Thank you.
Great book.
Thank you. Oprah's show was still on, and as you know, if she had you on about a book, you were kind of instantly guaranteed. And then I read her show was ending. So I wrote my book to a deadline of maybe getting on Oprah with it.
That's wild.
And not only, it's literally, I was supposed to finish it in a year. I ended up finishing it in 6 months because I wanted to possibly be on Oprah. And not only did she put me on, but she put me on the last week of her show. And you know what that guest list. Can you imagine if you were in the last week of the show, you'd be super picky about the guest list.
Yeah, no, it's only the massive guests.
So I got on last week and the book worked great. She's always been so supportive of me. And there's no one like her. The thing I love most about Oprah is you forget they're Oprah until you sit down with, like, here's the way I can put it. It's like, you go to the Rolling Stones. You're like, yeah, I'll go to the Rolling Stones. And you go to the Rolling Stones and then Mick comes out. And you're like, oh, that's right. That's fucking Mick Jagger right there.
Right, of course.
There's a reason he's Mick Jagger. Mm-hmm. There's a reason Oprah is Oprah. There's nobody like her with her curiosity. There's just no, she's one of one, and you're reminded every time you're with her.
So we had Josh Gad on the podcast. He's doing the Chris Farley biopic.
Yes.
I know you were in Tommy Boy. I screen tested for Tommy Boy. And I always say, like, even though I didn't get the job, that afternoon I spent with Chris Farley was really one of my favorite times in entertainment. He was so kind. But you could tell there was a very nervous, tortured energy there. And I'm curious about your experience with Chris.
There's nobody more quotable or knowledgeable or smarter than Lorne Michaels. Mm-hmm. And Lorne, I think, has summed Chris up the best in the past. He says, and any excuse I can to do my Lorne Michaels impersonation, I take.
Please do it.
Rob, the thing about Chris is he's like Belushi. He has the wrong heroes.
That was, ladies and gentlemen of this here podcast, that was not Lorne Michaels. We did not just fly him in to do that. That was Rob Lowe doing a spot on Lorne Michaels.
Josh Gad should hire him to be the Lorne Michaels
in the movie. That's a great idea. Yes. You should play Lorne Michaels in the movie.
I would in a minute. Minute.
Call Josh.
You call Gad back.
Oh, yeah, he's on the show tomorrow. Oh, my God, he's on the show tomorrow. He's on the show tomorrow.
But I would like to play. I would love. Have you been to craft service? Try the Hot Pockets. They're brilliant.
Tell me, okay, I want you to tell me as Lorne Michaels, say, you've got to get your daughter out of ponies. It will break you.
Oh, no way. Did he? That sounds
he
exactly like
told me that at pony finals. Go ahead, say it.
See, but this is my thing. No one has better advice and said in a way that you will never forget.
It's so true.
Here, I've got a good one for you.
Yeah.
You know, Lorne takes these long walks that you go on, and as John Lovitz said, I said, John, I'd like to play tennis, but I'm taking a walk with Lorne Lovitz. Have a good listen.
Stop it.
Here's my favorite. Okay, since we're on it, here's my favorite Lorne quotes ever. We're on the walking through Southampton. And sometimes there will be silence. Not a lot, but when there is, it's silent. And Lorne's looking, and he goes, you know, there's nothing more violent than a tree.
Stop.
And
why is that? Why is that, Lorne?
Well, I mean, over time, that elderberry is trying to kill that pine. Here's what I want to do is I want to write Lorne I want to do like a Twitter, like fake Twitter account of Lorne Michaels quotes, and you have to decide whether they were true or not.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes, do that. What would you call that? Lorne Michaels quotes?
I talked about it with Amy Poehler because working with Lorne is one of those things. If you've or Fred Armisen, who's on Unstable, which currently streaming now on Netflix.
Netflix.
Once you've worked with Lorne, it's kind of all you can talk about. He wanted to do. Here's another good one. I had Matthew, my first son. He had just had his first son, Henry. And I was commiserating that it's hard to come up with names because inevitably any name you come up with was the guy who beat you up in the playground or, whatever the hell it was. And like, it's hard. He goes, I find the king's names work best.
It's so true, though. If you think about it, the king's names
it's always
work
true.
Best.
Here's one that I haven't quite figured out, but I kind of know what he means. I was like, he was how's the house coming? And I go, it's good. We're trying to figure out the decor and the interior, what we're going to make. Well, he goes, as you get older, I think you'll find yourself being drawn to wood. Yeah, no, it's amazing. Isn't it amazing?
Wood. So, in addition to Netflix, you also have two shows on Fox. Of course, The Floor and 911 Lone Star. There needs to be a Rob Lowe channel. You know how Oprah has OTV?
Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
She needs to
Lowe.
have
I have Lowe.
Rob Lowe TV. Yeah.
She has O. I have Lowe.
Lowe. Yeah. I would watch that. That'd be 24 hours. You know what? The logo of Lowe TV would be burned into my screen from watching it so much.
Yes. I think
when
we
you
need
turned
to.
it off, you could still see it. The logo.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we need to do that.
So when you are not working, when your shows wrap, are you an actor who assumes that you will never work again?
For years. I'll tell you, and here's what's so interesting, and we all know the stories. Henry Fonda on his deathbed thought he would never work again. Turns out he was right. He died. Right. But my point is...
Right. Every once in a while, Henry Fonda got it right. And that was
every once in a while you got it right.
If you were on your deathbed, it's hard to work.
You're probably not going to work again. Here's the thing, and it keeps us, and it's a good thing. It keeps us motivated. It keeps all of those things. I've gotten to the point because it's so a part of our lives that no matter where you are, whether you're just pounding the pavement or whether you've had a bunch of hits, you're only really as good as what you've done, and you're subject to the whims, which you alluded to. Like all of a sudden in our business, it isn't necessarily about, are you good or are you a star? It could be about what you look like or your social media following, or you just don't know. You're subject to the whims of others.
Right.
So you don't know. There is no guarantee. But I've gotten to the point that I feel that it doesn't occupy as much psychic, stressful space in my mind as it used to. And that is because of a lot of self-work and looking at the data, looking at the analytics. It's like there are trends. There are just certain things that are trends. And you look back at the years and years and years and you go, okay, how's this trending? You know what I mean? So it's the notion that I'm at 60 feeling as bullish as I am. I definitely would not have thought if you'd asked me that when I was a 24-year-old St. Elmo's Fire ingenue, and I'm super happy about it.
But don't you think being rich also has something to do with that security? But don't you think being rich also has something to do with that security? If we're being honest, like when you're talking about data, you're like the analytics of it all. I was like, analytics, is that another word for money? Because money makes it easier to have the freedom to let go.
Oh, but it's all relative, right? It's
I guess,
all relative.
Yeah, I guess
and
you're right.
It 100% is. And when I say analytics, I'm thinking of more like, and here's the other thing. We've invested, you and I have invested years with our audience, you in particular. You have people in your life because of what you do and what you have done that will love you forever. That is not going away under any circumstances because of the hard work that you have done and who you are. And the gatekeepers can all fuck off because you did it and you have it. And that
Rob Lowe to give me a pep talk every morning.
It's the truth. It's 100% the truth.
I would say in the reverse more so that's more applicable to you because you have really generation after generation after generation, not only have you influenced groups and groups of young people coming up who are now adults, but their children and now their children's children. And you are always not only presently in something relevant and interesting and entertaining, but you have a body of work that goes back decades that has always been relevant and interesting and entertaining. So people know right away if they see your name, they are signing up for a good time. Like I'm going to talk about The Floor,
right?
Which is this fabulous game show. And I think like hosting is a different thing than acting.
You are telling me
it's a totally different animal.
And the reason I did, by the way, well, here's what's so interesting. I came up in a world where the notion that if you did a commercial,
right, it was over.
It was over.
Right.
Over. I remember in the 80s, we'll get back to The Floor in a second. I remember in the 80s, I got offered a commercial for Maxwell House. Right. They were going to let me direct, write, whatever I wanted to do for a fortune. Mm-hmm. Fortune. And the culture was such that I didn't do it. And at the last minute, the reason I didn't do it was I thought, what if Martin Scorsese is in town staying at the Chateau Marmont and he turns on the TV and he sees me from Maxwell House?
Right.
Well, guess what? I've never been in a Martin Scorsese movie.
Well, by the way, what's wrong with Martin Scorsese? Jan, put him on the list of people we have to call. Because you would be excellent in a Marty Scorsese production. Excellent.
Doesn't ever really use guys like me. But my point being, now if you win an Academy Award,
oh yeah,
the best you can hope for is you're the face of Chanel.
Right, but usually you're going to wind up doing Sanka.
Right.
Even with an Academy, they'll say Academy Award winner Rob Lowe for Sanka.
For Sanka.
Which, by the way, I would drink. They need to bring Sanka back and make Rob Lowe the spokesperson for it.
Sanka, it's the first coffee I ever drank. I drank Sanka with my grandma. She would put a drop of in it to color the milk she was giving me and read me Peter Rabbit. And that was what I did with my grandma.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Jan and I started eating Atkins simply because you told us through the TV that we should eat it.
It's good. Listen,
that's how we. Yep.
Atkins is listen. I only do the stuff that I organically do. That I do. Yeah, and like I love trivia. I was on the $10,000 pyramid. That says how long ago it was.
Right.
$10,000.
$10,000 pyramid. Right.
Not 100,000. $10,000 pyramid.
I remember.
As a young actor and loved it, and I love trivia game shows. So doing The Floor today is people are happy to see it. It's not, like when I'm out in the world, our entertainment has become so segregated. My parents watched The Bear, but I watch Emily in Paris, or I only watch football, but families all watch The Floor together. So all quadrants of an audience watch this show together, which is very rare. It's kind of the gold mine. And going into our second season, I can't believe the sort of momentum behind our show. It's people are addicted to it. And I love it. And back to your original question. Remember I said I hate being bored?
Yes.
Right? I can get bored acting. I can.
It's definitely a boring job. I mean, sitting around waiting. Mark always said, they don't pay you for the job; they pay you to wait.
That's
and
right.
And there's nothing like that. If you're hosting a game show, you are in it. You are in it. Yeah,
you're in it, and you've got to keep track of the gameplay, the scores. Mm-hmm. I'm terrible in math, so I don't know who's won what, when their last round was last week, and they won this, or they still have a time boost. It's like to me, it's like being an air traffic controller while I'm doing my one-man show.
It's so true. Jan over here produced me hosting my game show, Generation Gap, and it's very low stakes and low money. But when I tell you I could not add 100 plus 25 to save my life, and Jan's like, it's 125. What's wrong with you? Why can't you remember this?
Same. And it's really bad when you go, tonight we will be giving 2.5 million. No, it's $250,000, you idiot.
Right. But it's hard to, punctuation matters.
Punctuation
on a teleprompter. It matters. By the way.
But
I'm glad that you're hosting that show, and I'm glad that you're enjoying it, because I think that you, Rob, Jan, you probably forget this, but Rob used to co-host with me once in a while.
I remember.
It was my favorite thing ever. I know I've said this before, but I gotta say it again. I immediately had this fantasy of what my life would be like if I was in that chair permanently, and it was so. You and I would crush every morning, talk about what we want to do, be witty and fun and talk. It's heaven. If you like to talk, are good on your feet, it's heaven. And then you go to the gym, and then you do fucking Death of a Salesman at the roundabout.
Right. Well, that's what you would do.
And you're like, loving life.
I would go watch Death of a Salesman. If you were starring in it, that's what I would do. Might go watch it. But I got to tell you, I just love talking to you. I really, this has been a pleasure, an absolute privilege to talk to you. Don't forget to check out Rob's Smokin' Hot podcast. It's called, say it with me, Literally. Don't forget to watch 911 Lone Star, Mondays on Fox, as well as The Floor. Of course, Wednesdays on Fox.
Let's go. 2 days a week.
And you can stream Rob Lowe on every other show on Netflix. Have you done no, you haven't done a season of The Bear yet. But I think that Rob Lowe needs to do a season of The Bear.
Listen, you're getting me a job though. You got to get me the job as Lorne with Josh Gad.
Oh, we're doing that. That's what we're going to do as soon as we get off this podcast. We're going to call Josh Gad and tell him he needs to bring Rob Lowe in as Lorne.
Did he tell you who's playing Chris Farley yet?
Paul Walter Hauser is playing Chris Farley.
Oh, great.
Do you know him?
Yep.
He's amazing. But you would be
great.
Equally as amazing as Lorne. Anyway, that's all the time we have for Rob Lowe, everybody. Rob Lowe, thank you so much.
Thank you. Love you as always. Thanks for having me.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Smoking hot, you guys.
He
Smoking
really
hot.
looked good.
Yeah, Jesus.
Too bad we're off camera.
Any thoughts? Any thoughts on that?
I mean, it just brings you back, to your childhood, everything.
There's something so utterly likable about Rob Lowe. I just think he's got a great sense of humor. Self-deprecating. He's taking it easy over there. You can tell, he's not that stressed out. I don't think he's very stressed out about much. I mean, I wouldn't, if I looked like him, I wouldn't be stressed out at all. I'd be like, I'm Rob Lowe. I'm going to look like this until I'm 200 years old. They're going to find a cure for death, and Rob Lowe is hovering at 35 for the rest of his life.
I can't wait to see the St. Elmo's fire.
Yeah,
so good. So good.
Well, you want to sign us out there?
Me?
Yes.
Yes. No, Albert, it's your turn.
It's your turn.
Well, that's it.
Oh, Jesus, can you not sound like this?
A little excited.
God, my God.
But don't forget to listen, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. Can't wait to talk to all of you off camera next week.
It's easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah. Where's the comma?
There's
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Jesus. You suck.
Let's Talk Off Camera with Kelly Ripa is a production of Melojo Productions with help from Goat Rodeo. Our theme song is Follow Me from APM Music. From Melojo, our team is Kelly Ripa, Mark Consuelos, Albert Bianchini, Jan Chalet, Devin Schneider, Michael Halpern, Jacob Small, Roz Therian, Seth Gronquist, and Julia Desch. From Goat Rodeo, our team is Kara Schillen, Megan Nadolski, Max Johnston, Isabel Kirby McGowan, and Rebecca Seidel. Additional sound design by Terrence Bernardo. This show is powered by Stitcher.